The Squire of Gothos now. Oh man. No, I do think this is actually a very fun episode. I think the production values are strong. I think Trelane makes a captivating yet peculiarly scary villain. I find it compelling how the crew has to work out ways to outwit this omnipotent foe, and I really love the ending, and I very much appreciate that it inspired one of the closing gags of the great Futuramas Where No Fan Has Gone Before. Normally, I think I tend to have mixed feelings about episodes where the Enterprise crew come up against this omnipotent figure, because it tends to be just an easy way for the production to get around having to compose challenging special effects. If you have a god, you can just have these lazy edits, and then all of a sudden someone's turned into a lizard, or someone's, disintegrated. It's just all of a sudden they're this and that. My favorite of these kind of episodes is probably Humans Vradonas. That's, I think, the most enjoyable and interesting and creepy of this category. Although with this one, I quite like how the fans have decided to posit that Trelane is in fact one of Q's species. It's probably one of the best instances of that species being used, if this is indeed meant to be the case. I have to say here, I'm not the biggest fan of the existence of Q within Star Trek The Next Generation, partly because I think John Delancey's performance is just awful. It's like, one of these bad drama teachers. It's like an American trying to do Shakespeare and falling utterly flat on its face. And I think whilst there are some good episodes with Q, you tend to remember the elements which were independent of Q in that episode, whether it was Picard exploring his past or an introduction to the Borg. The elements that were sort of, again, separate from Q were the more interesting parts of those episodes. But anyway, onto the Squire of Gothos. Again, the thing with Star Trek is that trying to show this program to an audience now, or non-fans, it's difficult. There's a handful of episodes you can show them, but then there's a lot of other episodes where people realise why the show had such a silly reputation and why it was considered, especially in this 60s form, an incredibly campy piece of work. Now, I happen to think it's very vivid and colourful and sort of playfully creepy, as I said, in its own way, although I think it's something, you have to choose to sort of enter this space. It's not for casual audiences. Maybe in the 60s and there was nothing on, people would like this, or if this was considered a children's show, it's perfectly palatable. But for an adult in the contemporary world, it does require a certain acceptance that Trek has certain idiosyncrasies, and one either disdains them and finds them quite bizarre and alienating, or one utterly loves them, I think.